On this episode, we are going to make 2 smoked chickens. We are going to spatchcock both of them so that they cook evenly. And then once they're done smoking, we're going to get a bunch of vegetables. We're going to roast those. We're going to cut up the chicken into pieces. And then we're going to put those pieces on top of the veggies and serve it to friends and have a good old time. Today is 2 days before I intend to smoke my chickens. And the reason for that is because today I'm going to make my dry rub. I'm going to dry brine this chicken so that the salt and the seasoning has a chance to sink into the meat, and the salt's also going to dry out the skin. And then when we smoke these chickens, they are going to be unbelievably good. So I've got some things assembled in front of me right now. I have 2 teaspoons of dried thyme, 2 teaspoons of dried rosemary, 4 tablespoons of salt. And then we need to see if we can get 4 teaspoons of orange zest. We'll see. Or as much as this orange will allow, and my dog is coming to look at this orange. Hudson, you don't want this. You're not interested in this, or you are. All right, let's get to work. This is what I've ended up with. I'd say it's about 4 teaspoons. So we're just gonna go ahead, throw that in there, throw that in there, throw this in there. Let me get a glove, and we'll just kind of toss it around. And I'd say that right there is what we're working with. Now, let's talk about our chicken. So I've got 1 chicken. I'm just gonna record doing this process on 1, and trust me, there will be 2. I'm gonna spatchcock this thing, and I promise one day I will get a bigger cutting board. Today is not that day. So, we have our chicken. I've taken the inside packet out. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna turn it over, put the breast side down so that the legs are facing me. We're gonna remove the spine. Now to do this, you can do this a number of ways. I found that an easy way to do it is poultry shears. We're gonna go in on one side of the spine, and I hope these are strong enough. We're about to find out. It might take a few times to get it. Yep, there we go. All right, but there we go. We've cut along one side of the spine. Now we're gonna go ahead, kind of turn it the other way. So I'll just go ahead. There we go. Yep, you can hear it cracking. Done. And now we have 1 chicken spine. Now this and the packet inside of it is great for making chicken stock. So we're gonna save this in a freezer bag. And now we have our chicken cut in half. Let me go ahead and clean this up. I'll come right back.
Hi, Matt coming to you from slightly ahead in the future. I made a mistake in that footage that you just watched. It will be rectified shortly.
And we're back, and I've brought my dry rub over because now it is time to season this thing. So we're just gonna go ahead, take the rub, and we're just gonna pat it down. Despite the name, you actually don't want to rub this on the bird, or any meat actually. You wanna pat it into it. If you rub it, you're gonna end up with uneven spots of coverage, right? You're gonna scrape off some seasoning, rub it onto other parts, and you're gonna have parts that taste great and parts that don't taste so great. And we're gonna try our best to get into these little corners here that are a little bit more difficult to cover. And I am gonna rub a little bit of seasoning into this underside. And I can't use too much because I have a whole other bird I need to cover. So I'm just gonna go ahead, give everything a good pat, use whatever bits of seasoning that are on the board to cover up any gaps, and then we are done. What you doing, Hudson? That's raw chicken, you don't want that.
Hi. So, when I was preparing these chickens, I swore that I forgot something. I was like, I know I forgot something. I just can't remember what it was. Now I do. I forgot to break the breastbone on these chickens, but better late than never. So, here we are. They're right in front of me. I'm gonna go ahead, put them on my cutting board, turn them over. What we need to do is we need to sever the cartilage that's right in here. That's what I'm looking for. If you can get a look at that. I've severed that little piece of cartilage in there. Now I'm gonna turn this bird around and, like the worst CPR in the world, push it down. Now I've broken the breastbone and the chicken can lay a lot flatter like this. What happens when you spatchcock a chicken, or why do we do it? Well, when you spatchcock a chicken, it cooks more evenly. You can see that it lays flat. The idea is white meat cooks really fast and dark meat cooks longer. The entire bird needs to reach 165 internal to be safe to eat. Well, the white meat's gonna reach that temperature pretty quickly. The dark meat is gonna take a little bit longer. So in order to get this to be safe to eat, this part's gonna overcook. When you spatchcock the chicken, it lays out flat and everything is supposed to cook more evenly. That's the theory. There are debates about this. But the idea is, since everything cooks more evenly, there's less likelihood of the white meat being overcooked. If you've ever had overcooked white meat turkey, you know that it's dry, it's chalky, it's not very good. With this process, we are hopefully pulling this chicken when it's just perfectly cooked, meaning that everything is nice and juicy. Let me do this process with the other bird, and then I will see you at the grill. All right, here we are at the grill. So I got the lit charcoal on this side. I got the unlit charcoal here. It'll snake its way across, giving us some nice smoke and good temperature control. The water reservoir on the slow and sear is filled up. And then I got this pan here to catch all the drippings. Let's get the chicken on there. All right, chickens are on the grill. I've got the thermometer probes in there. I'm gonna smoke these chickens until we reach an internal temperature of around 140. How long that takes, I have no idea. I have people coming over to my house in about 3 hours, so hopefully well before then. Okay, y'all, it has been about an hour and a half, and we got a little bit of a problem here. We got one bird cooking faster than the other, and strangely enough, it's the bird on the right, which is further away from the spot with the lit charcoal, so kind of weird. Maybe it's got a different volume, who knows? But we got one of them at 145, the other's at 133. And I already rotated them once when they were at about 100 degrees. Let's go ahead and take a look. I mean, they look beautiful. This one, oh yeah, I mean, that one's much darker than this one. I think they've taken on a good amount of smoky flavor. They're looking like they're getting cooked pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate them one more time, and I will be back when that's done. I got them rotated. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this melted butter. This is the butter that I churned myself, by the way, from my honey butter chicken biscuit video. And I'm just gonna start basting. And I'm gonna do this to get it all nice and covered. And then I'm gonna kick up the pit temperature. It's already higher than it was before. And we're gonna try to finish these things off hot so that we can get a nice crispy skin. All right, we are at 160 on our bird that is cooking faster than the other, with the other one not that far behind. Now, I am going to go ahead and take the lid off and start looking at it. Woo, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh my God, that looks so good. Now, I'm gonna use this hand thermometer here to make sure that all parts of the bird have been cooking evenly. Let's see, oh yeah, we are shooting past 165 there. And it looks like the only parts that are kind of lingering behind, well, nope, even the breast meat on that side says it's much higher than 165. So I'm gonna go ahead, take this bird out because any remaining temperature it needs to come up to will happen in carryover cooking. And here we go. We got both our birds done looking nice and golden brown, and I have my oven here set to 165. So I got about an hour and 15 minutes until people show up, so I gotta keep these nice and hot but not overcooked. So they're gonna go into the oven at 165. I may even bring that down to 155, we'll see. And then the drippings. We will come back to what we're gonna do with these later. Let's talk veggies. I have a bunch of root vegetables here, some of which I bought, some of which were just in my fridge and I have to use them, otherwise they'll go bad. So I got some potatoes, carrots, onions, green onions. That's pretty much it. We're gonna cover these in a bunch of olive oil. You can never have too much, in my opinion. Some salt. I'm gonna start tossing. I am not left-handed. I gotta learn how to do this. Also, most of my angles in the kitchen a lot of times require me to use my left hand. Don't nobody make no dirty jokes. Some pepper. We have some powdered garlic, some smoked paprika. I'm gonna add a little more garlic because, like olive oil, I also believe you can never have too much garlic. Just a tiny little bit of Italian seasoning to give it some earthy flavor. And then I'm gonna take my huge cast iron skillet and I'm gonna pour these veggies in. Add just a little more olive oil to kind of coat the bottom of the pan. Also gonna help season this skillet because I don't use it very much. I hardly ever need to cook anything this big. And then this is going in the smoker to bake for about the next hour. And I just want to use my phone real quick to get a better angle because the GoPro does not do it justice. Look how pretty that is, and it fits in perfectly. So let's cook these things. All right, let's talk drippings. I got a pan here, it's got butter, I have some diced shallots, and I have garlic cloves. Let's go ahead and melt this butter. All right, cool, butter is melted. Let's go ahead and crush this garlic into it. All right, shallots go in. Stir it up. All right, now I'm gonna add just a little bit of flour. About that much. And we're kind of making a roux. We're kind of not making a roux. I want the thickening power that the flour will give me. You know what? I am gonna add just a little bit more. All right, with everything looking kind of clumpy, we're gonna go ahead and take our drippings. Our drippings have actually kind of solidified a little bit, so we're gonna help that out. There we go. We're gonna get them in there. Yeah, they look kind of gross, but they're gonna taste incredibly good after I'm done. I'm gonna reduce the heat a little bit. Now everything is coming together. I'm gonna add some white wine. About that much. All right, the wine is cooked off. I'm gonna add heavy cream. And it's pretty thick by this point. I might need to thin it out. I don't have that much left in here anyway. I might as well just add what I got. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Let's give it a taste. Really good. Okay, so we gotta hit it with some salt. Now the wine did give it a little bit of acidity, but I'm gonna need some more. So I'm just gonna add a tad bit of apple cider vinegar. About that much, actually. I'm gonna start small and then add more as needed. Just a tad bit more. There we go. Lastly, it does need a little bit of something herbal, so we're gonna add just the tiniest little bit of this stuff. I'm gonna go a little crazy. It needs something that's a little bit sweet, because everything's been pretty dry. So I'm just gonna add the tiniest little bit of honey. All right, one final thing. I am going to water it down just a little bit because this is gonna go on top of the dish. And right now it's really thick. So it does need to be thinned out just a bit. I think with that, I am good. I'm gonna go ahead and cover this. I got about 20 minutes until people show up. So I'm gonna save that off to the side. All right, so our birds have been resting. And the two birds are not gonna fit all the way inside the cast iron skillet as much as I want them to. So we're gonna carve them up. And we're just gonna go ahead and come in here, give that a cut, give it a pull. There we go. Get in where the joint is, cut that one free. Come in here, get the skin, there's a thigh. We need the wings. How do we get the wings? Should I just break the wings off with my hands? Why not? And I'm just gonna do this until the entire thing's broken down. All right, and here's what I got. All the discrete pieces are right here, looking nice and pretty. And any last bits of chicken that got shredded up, I'm gonna keep them in here and put those in the fridge, use those for myself later. These are the ones I'm gonna serve to my guests because they're nice and pretty. Hey everyone, so I'm currently in a hotel room on vacation several weeks after recording the footage for the smoked chickens. I just wanted to make one final recap and say that everyone really liked the food. I wasn't able to record people eating the chickens because I was busy being a good host and being an entertainer and of course having fun myself. But everyone thought that the chicken was cooked perfectly, no dryness at all in the white meat. But people especially loved the gravy, and that made me really happy because I was kind of just throwing stuff together to make that gravy. I had no plan. And it always makes me feel good when something that I improvise works out. I'll put up a photo that I took of the chicken and the gravy side by side. I debated making that the thumbnail picture, but there was just no room for the text. In any case, that was the final product. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any feedback, please leave them in the comments. And until we see each other again, go cook something amazing, and I will see you next time.